Now I'd like to start off this review by seeing if this word means anything to anybody. The word is alpha methylphenethylamine. Anybody? Anyone? Bueller? Bueller? Okay, so this is the next film on my list of movies that I saw at the International Film Festival. And the title of this movie is actually the shortened form of the word I told you earlier, and the title is Amphetamine. Directed by SCUD. This is a movie from Hong Kong. It's a drama starring Byron Pang and Thomas Price, if you're familiar with any of the Hong Kong actors. And actually in attendance, both the director SCUD and lead actor Byron Pang were in attendance. We get to ask a lot of questions about the movie. Now to get started, I'm going to give you a little summary rundown of this movie, which is had an interesting storyline to it. So here we go. The movie is about a straight swim instructor, Kafka, played by Byron Pang, who sees wealthy businessman Daniel, played by Thomas Price, and begins to fall in love with him. This is set in the background of the economic crisis, and in the beginning of the film, things seem to be going well. The relationship between Kafka and Daniel. It starts off as a platonic relationship, friends. They just meet, hang out, and then it buds into something more. Now Kafka is heterosexual in this movie, and Daniel is actually the homosexual, and he's the one that is that pushes more for the relationship with Kafka in the movie. Now the question of this movie is, can love really conquer all? The two major issues in this movie is, number one, Kafka's on again, off again, going back and forth, debating in his mind about what his orientation is. Another problem that is an issue in the relationship is Kafka's unstoppable addiction to amphetamine. He's always hooked on speed, and he takes it in heavy doses. It's something he fights throughout the whole movie. Another key thing about the fact that this is set against the economic crisis is the fact that Kafka is actually more of a lower class person. He's making money by doing deliveries for a small town restaurant. He's also trying to make money as a swim instructor. Whereas Daniel, he just moved back to Hong Kong after spending time, I believe, in either the UK or Australia. Couldn't really tell, because when he's talking with his coworkers, you can tell he has some sort of English accent, whether it's Australian or British, but it's not entirely clear. And those are the few times that you would hear English spoken in the movie. And you can tell that Daniel is more of the upper class of the two. He's more wealthy, and even in the living conditions for both of them, Daniel's got the higher end luxury apartment, penthouse, whereas Kafka's got, the poor apartment building that he is at. Throughout the whole movie, that they're dealing with this throughout the whole part of the relationship in the movie, and it's kind of interesting because this is the first Hong Kong movie I've seen, or at least to my recollection, where it's not an action film like I'm used to, like a Jackie Chan film, like what was it, Jackie Chan's First Strike, or a Bruce Lee film, Fists of Fury. So seeing a drama, especially this controversial, and I'll get into that controversy in a minute, is very different. Didn't expect this kind of movie. From the trailers, as you can look when you click down there on the link to check it out, it's not the kind of movie you would expect it to be. There's a lot of twists and turns in the movie, and a lot of interesting ways that the director edited and cut the movie. So I mean, in just as you get to it, just thinking throughout the movie is, like, can the relationship weather the storm, just like the world economic crisis? The world's trying to survive the economic crisis, or will Kafka's uncertainty and addiction actually tear down the bridge that him and Daniel made for themselves? And that actually is an allusion to something else in the movie as well. Now, to get on the notes, and I had a lot of notes on this movie because this was a hard movie to follow. Um, First of all, the character Kafka is actually based off two separate friends that the director SCUD had, each one fighting with their own issues that Kafka deals with. One of SCUD's friends was a drug addict, heavy drug addict. The other friend of his was fighting with his own sexuality, didn't know whether he or she was a heterosexual or homosexual, and was something that was a trouble in their life, especially with how much more strict they are, or at least it seemed, in Hong Kong. Now, to get to the controversy of the movie, when the movie was set to be released, it was released and screened in a lot of film festivals around the world, international film festivals. When it came to Hong Kong, though, in its home country, the issues of censorship came about. The movie was not allowed to be shown due to dealing with gay themes, heavy drug addiction, lots of full frontal nudity, and rape content. And it was banned in Hong Kong for a while until a lot of hard-fought battles with the government allowed the movie to be viewed both commercially and at the 34th 34th Hong Kong Film Festival, which was earlier this year in about April or May, I think. But for commercial viewing, a lot of edits had to be made, a lot of censorships, a lot of scenes had to be cut, including the more graphic rape scene, and a lot of other scenes were edited, blocked out. Although the audio was not changed, a lot of the parts were censored, blacked out and everything. Now, another interesting note to point out in this movie, and especially if you are more of the casual movie watcher, this is gonna actually be mind-numbing to deal with. But the way the movie's cut, especially in the earlier half of the movie, it's cut in a way to draw the audience into the feeling of a high. The way the movie's edited, especially in the beginning, a lot of scenes from the end have been cut and added onto the beginning scenes in the beginning, kind of pairing it up, so you don't know. Sometimes they could be in the middle of a dialogue or a speech or a conversation, and what ends up happening is you see them in one scene with this different clothes, this setting, and in the middle of the conversation, the scene changes and now they're in different clothes, different setting, probably even different time of day, doing different things. Instead of driving, they're now sitting at a bridge, and it's not explained very well in the beginning, and it's not even explained much throughout the movie, other than the fact that these scenes belong at the end. But what is actually happening and how the movie's cut is not explained at any point in the movie. As a matter of fact, we did not know that the movie was cut to resemble as if you were on a drug trip until the director actually said it in the interview. Now, another thing that's worth noting in the film is the fact that if you pay attention to Kafka, he changes his appearance a lot, and it's not simple changes in his appearance, but it's major changes. It's not just a change in clothing, but everything. In the beginning, he seems more of he's got kind of grayish hair, thick mustache, all grayish white hair. Part of the movie, all of a sudden, his face is shaved. His hair is cut really short. It's dyed black. Another part, his hair is a little bit longer and spikier, like it was in the movie, but still black. Then other parts, He's back to the grayish hair, but his face is still shaved. Then all of a sudden, he's got his mustache back on, and his hair is spikier, and it's black, and it gets confusing. At many points I didn't know who or what was going on. Again, that was another thing that was not explained through the movie until the director explained it, and it's not one of those easy to recognize. He's not one of those easy to recognize people regardless of appearance. It was major changes, as if you were totally different people, but he was still the same character, and those appearances were supposed to depict his personality at that point in the film. There is a little bit of English dialogue that's used, like I said, but the movie's going to be mostly English subbed because the movie is spoken mostly in Cantonese. Overall, I'm being very generous here because I'm not used to this kind of movie, especially from Hong Kong. I'm used to more of the martial arts films from Hong Kong, especially Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, you name it, all those stars, and I'm used to more martial arts films from Hong Kong. So seeing a drama like this, Hong Kong film, especially touching on the subject matter that it has, I'm actually going to give this a B. I did enjoy the movie, though it was uneasy at times. And this is a movie, if you get a chance to see it, I would say check yourself first. If you were uncomfortable seeing Brokeback Mountain, then I wouldn't recommend this movie for you because of the subject matter that's being dealt with and how heavy it's delved into and depicted in the film, on top of the other issues dealing with drugs and rape in the movie and other controversial things. Other than that, until the next movie, which should come up in about within the next couple days, actually. Until then, class dismissed.
寂寞地推開一扇窗，但怕跌入漩渦，找不到舊模樣。他仍呆坐那高橋，仍然追說當年，共他的歡笑與悲傷。